Randy Orton turns on Cody Rhodes at Survivor Series, mistakes that WWE shouldn't make at Survivor Series War Games, Brock Lesnar vs. Gunther at WrestleMania 40, Dominic Mysterio responds to Ria Ripley's message after she takes a shot at the Mysterio family, Randy Orton turns heel and becomes the Judgment Day's new leader at Survivor Series 2023, Jade Cariel to break a 35-year-old Royal Rumble record, Batista explains why he was always worried about being fired during his time in WWE, the Bloodline's feud is affecting their real life. Let's jump right into it. Mistakes that WWE shouldn't make at Survivor Series War Games. WWE Survivor Series War Games is the final main roster premium live event of 2023. NXT Deadline takes place on December 9, but for main roster performers, another PLE isn't currently scheduled until the 2024 Royal Rumble. Instead of traditional elimination matches, WWE has decided to use War Games for its stars. Both last year's show and this year's event have booked the bout for both the men and women. The usual brand warfare didn't factor much into booking this year's Survivor Series. Will that turn out to be a misstep? WWE should avoid making the following 4 mistakes at Survivor Series War Games. Number 4, The Miz ends Gunther's historic Intercontinental title run. The contrast of the current Intercontinental Championship feud has been done well. The Miz is a sports entertainer and wrestler, while Gunther considers himself a wrestler. He's the ring general and the mat is sacred. Gunther doesn't take kindly to people who don't take the craft or the ring seriously. For that reason, he has blasted The Miz for his career and character. While the latter has won the belt 8 times, Survivor Series shouldn't be the 9th time. The person who defeats Gunther must be a newer star whose career should be propelled upwards with the victory. The Miz can recover from a loss and has done that for the entirety of his career. Number 3, there must be at least one surprise at Survivor Series. As one of the big 4 shows in WWE history, Survivor Series has provided shocks and surprises. Sting, The Shield, and The Undertaker debuted at the event in different years. Last year's show had Sami Zayn finally earning Jey Uso's trust. There weren't many surprises, but the Bloodline angle was hot enough to keep fans sated. That is not the case with this year's Survivor Series, so Triple H needs to break out at least one surprise. The return of someone like Liv Morgan or the highly debated potential return of CM Punk would suffice. Jade Cariel could make a shock appearance. The fans are expecting some surprise for the show. It won't be Randy Orton since he was already revealed to be a final member of Team Rhodes. Bayley returned and formed Damage Control at SummerSlam 2022. Solo Sikoa debuted at Clash at the Castle. Something newsworthy needs to happen at Survivor Series. Number 2, there's a lack of traditional elimination matches. Survivor Series was created with 2 teams of stars competing for supremacy. Squads usually have 4 or 5 stars per team with elimination rules. That facet of the event had been used since the late 1980s, but over the last 2 years has been absent. War Games replaced those traditional elimination matches. While the War Games concept is exciting and intriguing, it doesn't build off the traditional 5-on-5 matches on which the show was based. A survival aspect is still important for the Jewel Cage affair, but not having something the show is known for is a mistake. Number 1, Io Sky takes the pinfall for her team. Despite booking Damage Control as an unstoppable force leading up to Survivor Series War Games, they should be the underdogs heading into the event. Their opponents boast the 3 top women in WWE: Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch. It would be hard to believe that a team featuring those 3 superfaces would lose. Even though Damage Control's team lost last year, they'll probably fail again this year. It will facilitate Bayley's expulsion from the group. If a group does lose, Io Sky must not be pinned. She is the champion and has already faced Flair and Belair enough times. Having one of those faces pin her would automatically give that person another title shot. It's time to move on to other challengers and let Flair and Belair participate in storylines without titles. Lynch has done it, so they should avoid the championship picture. Bayley being pinned would propel the story forward. Brock Lesnar vs. Gunther at WrestleMania 40. Brock Lesnar is one of the few WWE stars who is almost guaranteed to appear on the WrestleMania card every year. Amid speculation that he could face Gunther at WrestleMania 40, wrestling legends Disco Inferno and Conan gave their thoughts on how the match should end. Gunther recently became the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time, surpassing the Honky Tonk Man's 454-day record. Lesnar, meanwhile, has not competed in a match since losing to Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam on August 5. On K100, Disco Inferno explained why Lesnar could lose to the 36-year-old and still look strong. I think you actually have to have Gunther go over. Brock doesn't need any wins. He shows up part-time, he does good TV, gets rating. Conan agreed with his former WCW co-worker, adding that Lesnar does not need to win matches to keep fans interested in his on-screen character. You solidified Gunther as a top guy, and Lesnar has shown in the past that losses don't matter. People love his mystique, his aura, and he always brings it, and they'll be interested in the next guy he wrestles. WrestleMania 40 will take place at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on April 6 to 7, 2024. On January 28, the two heavyweights briefly crossed paths in the 2023 Men's Royal Rumble match before Bobby Lashley eliminated Brock Lesnar. In an interview on Under the Ring, Gunther compared the Beast incarnate to the final boss in a video game. You never really know what you get with Brock, I would say, but it's definitely a match I want to have, I want to do. I feel like Brock is somebody that I kind of like class, and I just made it my thing. It's like maybe my personal end boss. That's the guy that at one point I have to step into the ring with to validate myself, if that makes sense. In the immediate future, Gunther will defend his Intercontinental Championship against the A-List at Survivor Series War Games on Saturday. Do you think Gunther should beat Brock Lesnar? Jade Cariel to break a 35-year-old Royal Rumble record. WWE Hall of Famer Bully Ray recently backed Jade Cariel to win the Women's Royal Rumble match next year. Despite joining WWE a few months ago, Cariel hasn't made her in-ring debut yet. However, she has been featured in several backstage segments of the company's programming. During a recent episode of the Busted Open Radio podcast, Bully Ray said that WWE shouldn't delay Cariel's debut much further. He suggested that the ideal moment for her debut could be at the Royal Rumble in January, proposing the possibility of her entering the Rumble match and potentially securing a victory. Right now, she has not been seen as much on TV because you can't just keep showing somebody and doing nothing with it, because then you get tired of seeing them doing absolutely nothing. Closer to the Royal Rumble, maybe she pops up, and then you bring her in the Rumble. Give me a logical reason in the world of sports entertainment why Jade Cariel could not debut at the Royal Rumble and win. Throughout the 35-year history of the Royal Rumble match, no superstar has ever clinched victory in their debut appearance with the company. WWE's head of creative Triple H recently addressed the timeline for Jade Cariel's in-ring debut. During the post-show press conference after Fastlane, Triple H said that they wanted to make sure Cariel was in a position they were ready for and back the newly signed star to kick it out of the park when she eventually made her debut. You don't want to put somebody in a position that they are sort of ready for it, you want to make damn sure they are ready for it. So no matter what happens, she's going to knock it out of the park, Triple H said. It'll be intriguing to observe the Stanford-based company's plans for the former AEW star. Do you agree with Bully Ray's remarks about Jade Cariel? Batista explains why he was always worried about being fired during his time in WWE. Wrestling veteran Batista has looked back on his time in WWE and shared that he always thought he was going to lose his job. The Animal is one of the biggest names who have ever come out of the industry. He was a major star during his run in the global wrestling juggernaut, and he became an even bigger name in Hollywood. He's a six-time world champion, former Royal Rumble winner, and multi-time WrestleMania main eventer. Batista recently made a post on X during Thanksgiving where he disclosed what he's grateful for. He included a clip in the tweet that shows him speaking about his WWE run and how he thought he was going to get fired during his early career. When I was wrestling, I was just happy to have a job and always thinking I'm going to lose my job any day. And so becoming a world champion was something I just never imagined. You know, it's weird. They continuously say, why do you want to be there if you don't want to be champion? It's just because I was content having a job. I just really wanted to make a living, be able to support my family, said Batista. He added, to being champion, being on top of the company was just beyond my dreams. So with me, it's always baby steps. I find things by accident almost, and then I chase them. Once I find out that I really love something, that just put everything I have into it, and I put blinders on, and sometimes that's been a fault, but I've sacrificed some things because of that. But also my life is what it is because of that. Following a successful career in wrestling, the Animal announced his retirement from in-ring action after his match against Triple H at WrestleMania 35, which he lost. The two stars were part of Evolution, one of the strongest factions of all time, which also included Randy Orton and Ric Flair. Batista was supposed to be inducted into the 2020 WWE Hall of Fame, but plans changed due to the emergence of COVID-19. His induction was supposed to happen this year, but the multi-time world champion revealed in an interview that he was filming a movie in South Africa, so it wasn't possible. If he's free next year, there's a chance he'll finally go in. Who do you think would induct Batista into the WWE Hall of Fame? The Bloodline's feud is affecting their real life. There appears to be trouble at the Bloodline Thanksgiving dinner table, with Rikishi caught in the middle. Speaking about what this year's Thanksgiving will be like, Jey Uso revealed how the conflict inside the faction has affected the celebration. Jey Uso removed himself from the faction after superkicking his brothers and cousin, leaving SmackDown earlier this year. While he's on WWE Raw now, the old feud has not been forgotten. There's bad blood with the Bloodline. Despite Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso being his brothers, some insults appear hard to forget for Jey. This year, they won't be sharing Thanksgiving table either. In his interview with Billboard, Jey Uso opened up about what the holiday would be like for him. He turned down the opportunity to invite his brothers, saying they could go elsewhere. However, he would fly his father, Rikishi, down to his home for the special day. Hey, Carl, ain't nobody coming to my house for Thanksgiving except my dad. That's the only one. I'ma fly him down. Last year, I fried a turkey and everybody ate that. I'm frying 3 turkeys this year. It's going down. As far as Solo and Jimmy, they'll take you home and stay somewhere. Especially Solo. He's over there tripping. While Cody Rhodes shook the foundation of the Judgment Day, announced announcing that their fifth member for War Games was none other than Randy Orton, there was a noticeable hesitation surrounding Jey Uso. The Bloodline was the one to put Orton out of action, and Jey was heavily involved at the time. Hearing that he might be teaming up with the Apex Predator, the star looked uncomfortable. Fans will wait to see how the partnership goes between the former rivals this Saturday. Dominic Mysterio responds to Ria Ripley's message after she takes a shot at the Mysterio family. Dominic Mysterio responded to Ria Ripley's Thanksgiving message after she took a shot at Rey Mysterio and the rest of the Mysterio family. Dominic initially joined the Judgment Day after betraying his father Rey at WWE Clash at the Castle. This led to a match between the father-son duo at WrestleMania 39, with Rey coming out victorious. Ripley, who has taken digs at the Mysterio family at every given chance, once again mocked Rey on Thanksgiving and claimed she was thankful for Dominic. In response to the Eradicator, Dominic claimed the same. Thankful at Rhea Ripley _WWE heart emoji wrote Dominic. Rhea Ripley is in a pairing with Dominic Mysterio on WWE television. However, in real life, she's in a relationship with AEW star and former WWE star Buddy Matthews. In fact, earlier this year, Ripley and Matthews also confirmed their engagement on social media. Speaking in an interview with Sportskeeda Wrestling, the Eradicator previously explained how she balances her on-screen relationship with her real-life relationship. Ripley claimed that her fiancé has no issues with her current storyline. She said, "To be honest, it's pretty easy. Look, I love my fiancé. I think he's great, but when I'm at work, I am a completely different human being. When I'm at work, Dom is my partner. He is my partner in crime. He is my Latino heat, my dirty Dominic Mysterio, and I will do absolutely anything I can to get him on top of anyone that he's against. But yeah, for me, it's sort of like a switch, and Buddy Matthews, understands that as well. That's why it works." Rhea Ripley is currently preparing for her upcoming title defense against Zoe Stark at Survivor Series Premium Live event. What are your thoughts on Dominic's response to Ripley? Randy Orton turns heel and becomes the Judgment Day's new leader at Survivor Series 2023. The main event of Survivor Series 2023 is one of the most exciting WWE matches all year, as the Judgment Day's team faces Cody Rhodes and his squad of heroes inside War Game. The babyface team finally found its fifth member on Raw this week. Randy Orton will be making his long-awaited return to WWE at Survivor Series after the American Nightmare confirmed him as a part of the team. This has sparked massive excitement and intrigue heading into the event. But what if the Viper turns heel on his first appearance back? Following the announcement on Monday night, Damian Priest desperately tried to reach out to Orton. The leader of the Judgment Day even tweeted him to answer his phone. This likely means Priest may have an offer for the WWE legend, potentially even being willing to give his spot as the main man of the faction. There is a solid reason for a Randy Orton heel turn too. The Apex Predator will be teaming with Jey Uso, one of the men who put him on the shelf. The former Bloodline member's face after Rhodes' announcement on Raw says it all. Nobody has forgotten what happened. Damian Priest may have used that to convince Orton to join the Judgment Day at Survivor Series if the phone call happened. It will be interesting to see if a turn happens on Saturday, with the returning star's new merchandise indicating he is set to strike first. There's just something poetic about Randy Orton taking over a faction that Edge started. If Orton turns his back on Cody Rhodes and his team inside War Games, the landscape of Raw would be completely different. The 10-time WWE champion may make some changes in the Judgment Day, potentially making JD McDonough and even Dominic Mysterio his lackeys. And despite being the one to bring Randy Orton into the group, Damian Priest's future would likely be in doubt too. Signer Money in the Bank wouldn't like to play second fiddle for too long, so some tension may be brewing, especially if he's asked to give his briefcase to the Viper. Who knows what will happen in the men's War Games match at Survivor Series? This is just one of many possible twists WWE can pull off inside the double cage. Will Randy Orton become the Judgment Day's new leader at Survivor Series War Games 2023? Randy Orton turns on Cody Rhodes at Survivor Series. The WWE Universe believes that Randy Orton won't be betraying Cody Rhodes. However, he will set his sights on Jey Uso at Survivor Series. After being sidelined with a major injury for over a year, the Viper is finally set to make his highly awaited return at the upcoming Survivor Series Premium Live event. He will be the fifth member of Rhodes' team, which also consists of Jey, Sami Zayn, and Seth Rollins. Before being written off WWE television in 2022, Orton and his former tag team partner, Matt Riddle, lost the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships to the Usos. Hence, the WWE Universe believes that the Viper will end up RKOing Jey upon his return. On Twitter, fans also claim that WWE would save a feud between Orton and Rhodes for later. Booker T recently provided his take on Randy Orton's return and discussed the possibility of his return being kept a surprise. Speaking on the Hall of Fame podcast, Booker mentioned that Orton's return being kept a surprise would have been great. However, it would have eventually been spoiled on social media. The WWE legend concluded by mentioning that the die-hard Orton fans should know beforehand about his return to action. Booker T said, "You know, a surprise would have been great, but I'm sure someone would have broken on Twitter that Randy Orton has been spotted in Chicago. I'm sure of that. There's no way around that. So these days, trying to surprise someone, you might just be shooting yourself in the foot. Everybody should know sick that Randy Orton is gonna be there, so they could tune in and buy it more than anything. More importantly, you want the Randy Randy Orton fans to know he's going to be there. Orton has a long history with Cody Rhodes. Back in the day, the two men were part of the Legacy faction alongside Ted DiBiase Jr. Following the American Nightmare's return to WWE, the two embraced and shared screen for a while. Orton and the rest of his team will face the Judgment Day in a War Games match at the Survivor Series PLE. Do you think the Viper will set his sights on either Cody Rhodes or Jey Uso? Sound off in the comment section.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing.